I came home early to surprise my wife, but found her shirtless ex on our couch. She admitted she slept with him, so I walked out and never came back. I am 34 years old, and for just over 4 years, I had been married to my wife, Emily. For the most part, life felt normal. We had good days, we had bad days, but I always believed we were solid. We laughed together, shared meals together, planned trips together. Sure, we had small arguments, but none that ever made me truly doubt whether she was the person I could trust with my heart. I thought our marriage was something built on loyalty and respect. That belief stayed with me right up until the day I decided to do something sweet for her. My work requires me to travel often. Sometimes I am away from home for several days at a time, and Emily had learned to adjust to my absences. There were nights she told me the house felt too quiet without me, but she never made it sound like a big problem. This week was supposed to be just another one of those routine trips. I left early on Tuesday morning with the plan of returning late Thursday night. I gave her a kiss goodbye, told her I would call that evening, and headed off without thinking twice about it. But the unexpected happened. By Wednesday afternoon, the work I was assigned wrapped up much earlier than anticipated. I was sitting there in my hotel room, thinking about how Emily always said she loved surprises. I thought about showing up a day early, walking through the door, and watching her face light up when she saw me. The idea made me smile. I didn't call to tell her I was coming. I wanted the moment to be genuine. The next morning, I packed my bags, got in my car, and made the drive home. It was around 9 o'clock when I pulled into our driveway. The neighborhood was quiet, one of those calm weekday mornings where you can hear the birds chirping and the faint sound of a car passing by every few minutes. I grabbed my bag from the passenger seat, walked up to the front door, and knocked. I figured she might still be in her pajamas. The door opened, and there she was. Emily was wearing a light blue nightdress. Her hair was messy, but not in the way you'd expect from someone who just rolled out of bed. It looked more like she had been in a hurry to get ready. The smile I expected never appeared. She just stood there, frozen, almost like she had seen a ghost. Her eyes shifted past me, as if she was checking to see if someone else was standing behind me. Before I could even say anything, I caught movement inside the house. My eyes drifted to the living room, and that's when I saw him. A man I had never seen before, sitting on our sofa. He was shirtless, wearing only a pair of jeans. His expression was somewhere between startled and uncomfortable, like he had just been caught in a place he had no right to be. Emily spoke first, her voice strained. Why are you home today? You said tomorrow. I tried to keep things light. Things wrapped up early, so...
Surprise.
But she didn't smile. She didn't even step aside to let me in. She just stood there holding onto the edge of the door frame like it was the only thing keeping her upright. The man on the sofa stood up without saying much, mumbled something I couldn't make out, grabbed a hoodie from the armrest, and walked quickly past me without making eye contact. My eyes followed him until he was gone. Then I turned back to Emily. My mind was already racing, trying to make sense of what I had just walked into. I stepped inside and set my bag down. Who was that? I asked, my voice calm but firm. She looked away and said, just an old friend. The words were casual, too casual for a situation like this. An old friend doesn't sit shirtless on your couch at 9 in the morning while you're in a nightdress. But I didn't push right then. A part of me still wanted to believe there could be an innocent explanation. But that hope was about to be crushed completely. I walked past her, heading toward the living room, and I could feel how heavy the air felt. The house was quiet, but it wasn't the peaceful kind of quiet. It was the tense, suffocating kind that made the hair on the back of your neck stand up. Emily was following me, not casually like she normally would, but in this close, almost guarded way, like she wanted to stay near enough to control whatever was about to happen. I sat on the edge of the sofa and looked at her. So, you want to explain what your old friend was doing here? I asked. She crossed her arms over her chest and replied, I told you. He's just someone I used to know. You're overthinking it. But my instincts have always been my compass in life, and right now, they were screaming that she was lying. I wasn't looking to start a fight. I just wanted the truth. So I leaned back slightly and said, "All right, if it's nothing, then you won't mind if I check the cameras." That was when her guard slipped. Not in words first, but in her eyes. The flicker of panic was instant, and her response was defensive, not confused. "Why would you need to check them?" That alone told me more than any explanation she could have tried to give. I didn't bother answering. I stood up and headed toward the small side room where we kept the DVR for our home security system. She followed me quickly, her voice sharper now. "You're seriously going to invade my privacy like that? What's wrong with you?" I stopped in the doorway and turned to look at her. "Emily, it's our house. And this isn't about privacy. This is about finding out why there was a shirtless man here while you were in a nightdress at 9 in the morning." She shifted from one foot to the other, her eyes darting briefly toward the front door like she wanted to run from the conversation entirely. But she stayed. I turned back to the monitor and began scrolling through the footage. We had cameras covering the front porch, the living room, the kitchen, and the back door. I went to the exact time I had left for my trip, just over 24 hours earlier, and started from there. Emily didn't say a word now. She just stood behind me, silent, but I could practically feel the tension radiating off her. At first, nothing looked out of the ordinary. She walked around the house, did a few chores, watched some TV. But then I saw it, the moment that tore away any last bit of doubt I had left. The front porch camera showed Emily opening the door barely an hour after I had left. Standing there was the same man I had seen in the living room, except now he was smiling and holding a small paper bag. Emily didn't just greet him like an old friend. She stepped forward and wrapped her arms around him, letting him kiss her cheek and then her lips. They stayed like that for a moment before she laughed, grabbed his hand, and pulled him inside. My stomach dropped as I switched to the living room feed. The two of them walked in together, talking and laughing in a way that showed this wasn't their first time. They sat close, touched each other, and leaned in with a familiarity that spoke volumes. My heart was beating hard, but I let the footage play for a few minutes just to be certain. And then I didn't need to see more. The story was already clear. I turned to face her. "Do you want to explain this?" I asked. She loosened her arms but kept her voice steady, almost too steady. "What's the problem? He's my friend." I stared at her, barely believing what I was hearing. Friends don't kiss like that, and they don't spend the morning together when their husband's out of town. That was when something shifted in her expression. The fake calm dropped, and what replaced it was blunt, cold honesty. "Every woman needs sex. So what if I slept with one guy for a night? What's the problem? He's my old friend." For a second, I thought I misheard her. "So you're admitting it?" I asked. She shrugged like it was nothing more than forgetting to buy milk. "It happened fast. I wasn't thinking about you at the time. I wanted to believe she might say it was a mistake, that she might try to convince me it meant nothing." But there was no real remorse in her voice, no sign that she regretted anything except the fact that I had found out. Right then, something inside me went completely still. Whatever we had before this moment was gone. I didn't yell. I didn't throw anything. I didn't ask more questions. I just looked at the woman I thought I knew and realized I didn't know her at all. "Emily," I said quietly, "I'm done. I want a divorce." Her head snapped up like I had spoken a foreign language. "What? Over this? Are you serious?" "Yes," I said plainly. "You made a choice, and that choice means I'm not your husband anymore." The change in her was instant. Panic flashed across her face, followed by anger. "You can't just walk out on me. If you do this, I'll tell everyone you harassed me. I'll ruin you." I didn't react, and my silence seemed to make her more frantic. She started pacing, muttering under her breath, then stopped and faced me again. "Please, just one last chance. I'll never talk to him again. I swear we can fix this." Her voice cracked like she was trying to cry, but it felt hollow. I walked past her to the bedroom, grabbed a duffel bag, and began packing my clothes. She followed me, switching between pleading and snapping, but I kept zipping my bag. At the door, she said, "You're throwing away everything we've built over one mistake." I looked at her for the last time. No, Emily. You threw it away the second you let him in. And then I walked out. That was the last real conversation we ever had as husband and wife. The divorce was final a month later. Sometimes I wonder if she ever truly regretted it, or if she only regretted that I came home early enough to see the truth.